All right, this is 8th grade, Module 7, Lesson 4 on simplifying square roots. So we're going to continue working with our square roots. And if you remember in previous lessons, when we had a square root that was not perfect, we had to find what it fell between. So now we're actually going to teach you how to simplify that, because we do want you to actually have a final answer, not a estimated answer. So let's start off with this first opening exercise, which is just a review. What is the square root of 16? It would be positive negative 4. What does 4 times 4 equal? Well, it equals 16. So, is the square root of 16 equal to the square root of 4 times 4? Well, this would be the square root of 16. And 4 times 4 would give me 16. So that's a yes. So I'm going to let you do B, C, and D. You're going to mimic this same style. So those ones I will grade, and then I will meet back up with you on E. Now E, we have the square root of 20. And as you know, 20 is not a perfect square root, but does it contain a perfect squared factor? So let's list the factors of 20. So obviously you have 20 times 1, which isn't going to help me much. I have 2 times 10. That's not going to do anything because neither one of those are perfect. And then I have 4 times 5. Oh, my 4 is a perfect square. So this is going to be the combo I use. So instead of writing the square root of 20, we're going to write the square root of 4 times 5. Now the square root of 4 is 2. So we're going to cross that out, pull the 2 on the outside. And what's left on the inside is root 5. All right. I want you to try 28, and then we'll check it and see how you do. All right. So hopefully you had a chance to check that over. Let's try this. The square root of 28. So let's first list our factors. Well, of course, you have 28 times 1, which isn't going to help me much. I have 2 times 14. Neither one of those are perfect. I have 7 times 4. Oh, there's my combo right there. So I'm going to use the 7 times 4. So I write a longer square root, and I put 7 times 4 inside. Now, my 4 is a perfect square, so I'm going to cancel that out and make it the 2 on the outside. And then root 7 is all that's left. So that is my answer. So hopefully you got something similar, or at least now you can see which combo I chose to use. All right, let's go on to example 1. Example 1, we have root 50. Again, not a perfect square. So I'm going to say 50. Its possible combinations is obviously 50 times 1. That's not going to help me much. 10 times 5, not going to help me. How about 25 times 2? Now, 25 is a perfect square, so that's my combo. So I'm going to say root 25 times 2. Now, I'm going to cancel out that 25, take the square root of that, and I get 5. And the only thing left inside the root is 2, so my final answer is 5 root 2. All right, I'm going to now let you try example 2, and then I will meet you back at number 1 down below. All right, so number 1 here, we have the square root of 18. So again, let's list our factors. We have 18. 18 times 1 is not going to help me much. How about 9 and 2? Oh, 9 is a perfect square. So there we go. We're going to use these two numbers. So I'm going to say the square root of 9 times 2. We're going to go ahead and square the 9, and that becomes a 3. And what's left inside is root 2. And there's your final answer. All right. Go ahead and try 2, 3, and 4 on your own. Now, we start to get into some bigger numbers here. And as the numbers get a little bit bigger, you might want to think about getting a root chart where you have a chart of all your square roots so you can kind of see it a little easier. And again, you want to look at where it falls between. Where does root or 128 kind of fall between, similar to what we were doing before. Now, I know that 128 falls between 8, which is 64. So 64 times 2 gives me 128. So that's going to be the combo I use. So 64 times 2, because 128 is pretty close to this factor here. All right, now I'm going to take the square root of 64, and that gives me 8, leaving me with root 2, 8 root 2. All right, I want you to do example 4. That'll be one I grade. And then I'm going to do this bottom portion with you. All right, so some of these can be broken down even further. All right, now what we've been doing before is just finding 2 factors, but some of these have multiple factors. So let's look. At 108, I know that I can do 4 times 27. Now 4 is a perfect square, so I'm going to circle that. That's definitely going to be one of the numbers inside the radical. But I also know 27 can be broken down, and it also contains a perfect square, which is 9. So I'm going to circle the 9, and then I'm going to circle the 3 because that's where it finished. These 3 numbers all go into the radical. So I'm going to do 4 times 9 times 3. All right, and now I just start taking the squares. The square root of 4 is 2, so I bring the 2 on the outside, times the square root of 9 is 3. Put the 3 also on the outside, and then what's left inside the root is root 3. Okay, so you multiply out the outside there. 2 times 3 gives me 6 root 3, and you're done. That's it. All right, let's try 250. Now 250, if I broke it down, well, I know 25 and 10 right there. So 25 is a perfect square, and can 10 be broken down any further? No, so it gets circled. So this one here is going to be 25 times 10. We're going to break up that 25 and pull out a 5 and keep the 10 inside the root. So it's 5 root 10. All right, let's look at 200. Now I can't use, well, yeah, I guess I can use 20 and 10. Let's try that. 20 and 10. Okay. Now 10 can't go any further, so I'm going to circle that. But my 20 can be broken into 4 and 5. Now 4 is a perfect square, and 5 cannot be broken down any further. So I'm going to keep all 3 of those. So I'm going to say the square root of 4 times 5 times 10. All right, so I'm going to break up this 4 and pull out a 2. And then I'm wind up with 50 on the inside. Oh, hold on. Can 50 be broken down? It sure can. 50 can be broken down into 25 times 2, and sometimes this happens. 25 is my factor there, or my perfect square, and 2 is also there. So now, let me see if I can switch up colors here. Now I'm going to have 2 on the outside and 25 times 2 on the inside. So let's break up that 25. This 25 is going to break up into a 5. So now I have 2 times 5 on the outside, root 2. So 2 times 5 gives me 10 root 2. And there's my final answer for number 7. It kind of fell down here by number 8. All right. I want you to try number 8. And this will finish this tutorial.